My mom and dad had been living in an assisted living facility, and there came a point where they could no longer function highly enough to stay there, and my sister and I had to put them into a nursing home. When they first went into the nursing home and we would go to visit them, I know we would sit in the lobby and there was a fish tank, and I would ask Mom, if she was getting enough to eat, and she would say, "Yes, dear, I'm getting enough to eat." And for the first few weeks, it seemed like everything was going fine for them, even though I knew that this was, a big change.
My brother and I found a nursing home for them, a skilled facility, and we felt that the nursing home would be a good place for them. They had stressed how their employees had been there for a long time, that they had a homey atmosphere, and they took care of their patients and watched out for them.
But after a few weeks, we started noticing little things like I would go over and Mom wouldn't have any socks on and her feet would be cold. I would go over there and the front of Dad's pants would be wet, and I would go ahead and go change him, and at the same time I was thinking, this is something that the staff at the nursing home should be doing.
She had infections in both eyes, and staff didn't seem to be interested in doing anything about that, and were rather annoyed that we expected them to get a hold of the doctor and get some medication for this.
At one point, the nursing home contacted us and told us that Mom had fallen and she had a bruise underneath her eye. And we went over and to see her.
Mom had a bed sore on her heel, and because of this she was put on an air mattress.
We found out that the bed that Mom was in, it had a low air mattress to help deal with her bed sore, and the bed also had bed rails on it. There was a gap between the edge of the mattress and the bed rails, and nobody told us that this could be dangerous.
The nursing home knew that a mattress not fitting the bed was extremely dangerous, especially for very small patients, as Mom was. At the time of her death, she weighed 80 pounds or less. And they knew that this was a serious danger. They had a policy in place to check for these gaps, to make sure that they weren't large enough that a patient could slip through. They even had some sort of cylinder that measured this, and still they did nothing about it.
We learned during the lawsuit that an engineer had actually examined the bed and had found that a cylinder could actually pass through that gap without touching anything.
Later on, we found out that Mom had been caught in the bed rails and between this mattress more than once.
But one night, Mom started to slide off the bed and got lodged between the side of the bed and the bed rail, with her knees barely touching the floor. And she was unable to pull herself out of this because she had been greatly weakened over the stay in the nursing home. And she was the pressure on her chest asphyxiated her.
The nursing staff had not explained what happened to Mom. We were led to believe that she had just passed away in her sleep, had died peacefully. She looked peaceful in her bed when we were there. We gathered up all of her things, were able to spend a little bit of time with her, and we had been there probably a couple of hours at least, and were on our way out the door when two of the nursing staff stopped us and took us into their office and explained to us what had actually happened to Mom. How she had become entangled in the bed rails and had actually been half out of the bed and had been found dead in that position. After we found out how Mom had died, my brother and I had decided that we would see an attorney, and the attorney that we talked to didn't have a lot of nursing home experience, and he had seen a seminar that David Terry had given about nursing home litigation. So he decided to bring him into our Mom's case.
Both my sister and I were really impressed with David. He would return our phone calls promptly. I was very impressed with the way that he would explain legal issues to us. Also, medical issues that might come up in the lawsuit. He did a very good job of explaining these things to us. Also, I felt that that he was very compassionate in knowing and seeing what had happened to our mother.
David was very good about explaining things to us. We're not doctors, we're not lawyers, and he was very, very good about realizing this and making sure that we really understood where he was going. He didn't use big legal terms and just leave us to muddle through with our whatever understanding we could come up with. He made sure that we understood exactly what he was doing and why.
After meeting with David and the way that he would outline how the case would go, and during the time that we observed him taking depositions, even though I don't know anything about the law or legal issues, I could see that he was doing an extremely professional job of constructing this case block by block, witness by witness. And I was very impressed with the way that David handled the case.